quite know how to introduce this subject because I'm just at the beginning of exploring it. To me, not only is it a very delicate and mysterious kind of experience, but also um, it requires surrender rather than trying to manipulate it into being. So I'm approaching it like the burning bush, you know. It's like how can we start talking about it?
Uh-huh. Uh, it's something that if we're referring to the same thing, and I suspect that we are, that it's a phenomena that I've been exploring as long as I've been exploring,
Uh-huh.
because it's not difficult to notice once one pays attention that conversation, let's call it, or the exchange of words usually is person A says what they have to say,
Yeah.
person B says what they have to say, person A, regardless of what person B says what they have to say again.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you look at social media, most of it is like that.
Well, and then there is competition of who shouts their opinion louder.
Yes, then there's that.
Yes.
But let's say even in the civil exchange, it's still basically person A is waiting for their chance to say what they have to say, and person B is waiting for their chance to comment on their opinion, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to recognize that a lot can be explained in that way, but nothing can be explored in that way. So I've adopted the word exploration as what I teach. I teach people how to explore because I have found that through exploration, doors open.
Yeah.
Through opening doors, more exploration is possible, that more doors open. But without that exploration, all that happens is things get explained, and we have then a glossary or a dictionary of terms and meanings that we can exchange and imagine that we're actually exploring.
So are you saying that for you exploration is a means to the end of that shared space?
Yes,
That that's not an end for it by itself?
uh, I'm saying that well, really, nothing is an end by itself, you
Okay.
know. But exploration is a tool, but it's a very natural tool if somebody can leave behind some of the stuff that gets in the way.
Okay.
So I've made a study of the stuff that gets in the way.
Mm.
And sometimes those things are just tiny and we think really they're assets, but they're liabilities to exploration, to actually being able to listen to another person we know requires a certain, I'm okay to be here. I don't feel challenged by your opinion. I'm okay to sit still, period, at all. You know, and then then I also understand the subjectivity of language. I know how it's used, how it's ordinarily used. I know the parts of it that are used to push away and the parts that are used to pull. So there are probably, I could just make this up, a dozen elements that are required, in my opinion, to subsist, to desist, to decrease, for this shared space to exist.
I'd love to hear about that.
And I don't know how it could happen without that exploration of those things, without that paying attention to what's in the way. How come it's not happening now? How come it is happening now?
Okay.
So I've put in years to develop methods to explore that.
Uh-huh.
I've put in years to explore that myself. And so I know when, because my capacity to click into that immediately is not perfect. There are some things that that happen that I have an agenda. I want this to happen.
Yeah.
So we're not sharing space anymore.
Uh-huh.
You're getting my opinion. And sometimes I think my opinion is important.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's quasi important.
Okay.
But if I think it's important, then the shared space has to be, I have to get you over to my
Yeah.
opinion for us to share the
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
So, but I do recognize when I try to relegate those kinds of opinions
Mm-hmm.
uh, to very infrequently. So maybe you've noticed in my interaction with my friends, my
Mm-hmm.
students, my
Mm-hmm.
friends, that they ask me, shouldn't I? I say, I ask a question,
Mm-hmm.
I say, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I try not to interdict an opinion
Yeah.
because I see that will preclude that shared space, that shared exploration of what that person is trying to see.
Right.
So, but I also know the situations like this one where there's no need whatsoever for an agenda. If I wanted to become rich and famous, if I wanted you to do something for me, if I wanted any of those kind of things, that flexibility wouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
There would be an agenda. But since this clearly, from my point of view, requires zero agenda,
Mm-hmm.
then I can go there. And even though you have a little bit of an agenda,
Mm-hmm.
because you have a purpose for these
Well,
interviews.
we have cameras here, so
Yes,
that's
right,
part of the agenda.
right. But the uh, I don't want to use the word sincerity, but the impetus of my wanting there to be no agenda, I can draw you away from your agenda. True, false?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
A little?
Uh-huh.
Is that a yes or
Yes,
no?
that's a yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Well, let's. This is great. This, first of all, this is kind of what I hoped it would be. So I feel my sense is that I'm still very aware of myself in the sense that everything I've learned from previous conversations, from my own observation of myself and of other people, is in my awareness now, and so it's not like I'm not a blank slate. I bring my individuality to the picture, and I think you do that too. So so individuality, history, everything that we've accumulated uh, can get in the way and can be in service of this shared space. How would you define of what makes the difference between those two options?
right. Uh, okay, let's talk individuality as as produced by the circumstances that we've come through,
Yeah.
and leave aside individuality that could be predicted by genetics or anything that happened,
Okay.
any story of a metaphysical story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so let's leave that aside for
Sure.
now, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that's been assimilated by this baby and young,
Mm-hmm.
older, in my opinion, has to be reviewed. Now, this can be, and I don't mean psychoanalytically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean in a very particular way because, as you say, everything that has been assimilated is here right now.
That's right.
So we don't have to go back We don't have to go into our dreams.
Yeah.
We can go into exactly how you pick up a glass now reflects something about the past.
Yeah.
So the study of the present moment has become a precious vehicle for me to know what it is that I manifest, what's been, what has adhered itself onto me, or what I have magnetized onto me,
Yeah.
and to see what my, using my assessment of that, is it now? Is it an attribute? Is it a detriment? Does it cause openness? Does it cause closeness?
Yes.
All those things. And I have done that, and I recommend that people do that, but not in a painful and arduous way, but in a way with perspective and humor and small things. I believe in the quantum study of human behavior in the present. That's a lot of words, but it can be exciting, it can be revelatory, it can be interesting, and I see the necessity for it, and it doesn't have to take a whole long time if it becomes a person's priority. Because we have so many in common adherences, things that have been laid on us, things that we've attracted to us, that it can be a study in categories more than in individual manifestations. So I see that as to define individuality. How do we do this without losing? How do we maintain the good stuff while losing the obstructive stuff, the self-destructive stuff? How do we do that?
Yeah.
And I see that it's possible, and I know the moves in that dance, how to do that.
So help me with this dance, okay? I'd like to. So my idea of how I can contribute most would be if I could give 100% of my attention to you. I'm aware that I am giving only 50%, and 50% I'm paying attention to what's going on in my mind, in my experience, and would that be so I'm not sure if it's a distraction, if it's unavoidable. I'm a human being, so this is what I have to work with.
Right.
Does it yeah, I think maybe we'll start with the question: is that, to your mind, an obstruction, or the materials that we have to work with, since we're human beings?
I think a little of both. I think there's too much of it. I think René Daumal said in the book Mount Analog, he says shoes are important.
Yes.
You have to take care of them 15 minutes a day, isn't it?
Yes.
Some people take 15 minutes a day, have 15 minutes a day left after they take care of all their needs. And I think that this individuality, which can manifest in inner dialogue, can manifest in opinions, can manifest in tendencies of all kinds of likes and dislikes, appreciation and the opposite. There's too much of it. And it's not difficult to take away 20% of it and feel like you're lighter and not feel like you've lost something.
Sure.